Well, this week I'm going to show you how to make this really simple, kind of rustic looking headboard. And next week we'll make a bed to go with it. So stay tuned and see how simple, easy, and inexpensive this headboard was to put together. Alright, so I did a little prep work, and by prep work I mean I cut two pieces of cereal box. Now these are 3.5 inch squares approximately. They're not exactly the same, and we're not going to see these when we're done making our headboard. These are just what we're going to build upon. So the first thing I want to do is take some glue. I'm going to use glue stick. I think that'll work just fine. Any glue that will hold this together is fine, and I'm gluing the label sides together because I want to work on the cardboard side. Tacky glue, any kind of glue, whatever you've got handy is fine. I am going to clamp these pretty close together here on the edges because I don't want my edges lifting. And now this glue will need a while to dry. And when this is dry, we will start building our headboard on this base. All right, one more clamp, and then we'll leave this to dry. All right, so this has had a little time to dry, not a lot, but it should be fine. And I dug out my wood glue because my tacky glue has, I'm going to put some of this out on my, I'm working on parchment paper to protect my surface that I'm working on. And we are going to cover one side of this with wood, trim the ends, and then cover the other side. And I'm using jumbo craft sticks. And when I buy my craft sticks, I buy them in these big boxes. This one had 300 of them in it. It's an awesome way to buy them. I'm looking for, I'll just use another one of these. And I think I'm going to trim one end, and I'll trim the second end. I'm using my easy cutter. And I'm going to line this up, line it up on the edge, and enough glue to cover for the second one. Now, if you want to use a wood stain, you need to be very careful to not get glue out. If you're going to paint, just wipe the glue off. I will probably paint this, but I will probably paint and do a shabby chic type. That one I cut crooked. I wonder if I can cut that in place. No. All right, that one is cut crooked. So I want to get that cut off. There. Try and cut that first edge nice and straight. It will help your rest of your project go together better. That's crooked. And craft sticks are not all straight. That's okay. And it's okay if they go down below. That's better. Now, we are going to leave this to dry. I'm going to clamp this edge too. When this is dry, I'll come back and we'll trim those ends. Alright, since this is trying to pull away from my cardboard, I decided I better come in and trim these so I can clip them on this side. So I did the first two off camera just to make sure I could actually do them with this and didn't have to come up with a different way to cut them. So I'm just leaning this up against there. And you're not going to get cut all the way through because of the cardboard. We're not in a good cutting position. And it's okay if the edges are not completely smooth. We can fix that. That's going to be covered. Basically, what I'm trying to do there is score that. Alright, and some of my glue oozed out, but that's okay. We're going to cover this side up a little bit. So now I'm going to clamp this end. Now that will dry a little more flat. So I'm going to give the glue some more time to dry, and then I'll be back. Alright, while this glue is continuing to dry on the first side, I decided to go ahead and add side number 2. And I decided to pre-cut these to 3.5 inches. Yeah, that's going to be fine, I think. Now you can use tacky glue, you can use the wood glue like I'm using. It doesn't really matter as long as it's a glue that will hold the wood. And I'm probably going to switch. I haven't decided if I'm going to switch tacky glue for the next step or not. Now make sure your board's running the same way. That's important. Yeah, this was a lot easier to cut them ahead. Now this headboard will just sit behind your bed that you make. And I think maybe next week we will continue this project and make the bed that goes, make a mattress section to go with this bed. So we'll make this probably in a 2 or 3 part video. There. And I'm trying to be a little more neat on this one because this one is the side that's going to be out towards the back, and this side will show. So now, clamps back on, and we need this glue to dry. Let's see, I'm going to put a longer clamp there. And that's making this end pop up, so we'll clamp this end. It's a matter of mix and match here to get the clamps to fit. So now we need the glue wiped off. All right. So now this glue needs to set up for a while, and when it's dried enough that we can go on to the next step, I'll be back. Alright, so the glue, it's not dry all the way, but I'm going to continue to move forward now. We did manage to get some more glue squeeged out there a little bit. I'm going to see if I can just scrape it off. Since I am going to paint this, it won't really make a huge difference. Now, we're going to put some texture on the front of this. This is the side of the headboard that's going to face the bed. This is the side that'll be towards the wall. So, I have this stuff. It's called Wall Repair Fabric. Oops, get it all the way under the camera. This is used when you're patching drywall, and you should be able to get it at Home Depot. I actually think I got this roll at Walmart. I'm going to cut it. Lay it on here. It's got a really cool grid pattern, and it takes paint really well, and I'm not under camera, but I'm getting this in the glue. All right. And it's sticky. It's kind of got this adhesive on the back side. I'm trying to work in the corner of my dining room table today, and it's not working very well. I should have cleaned the table off. I've got all my tables are full of junk. I need to do a thorough spring cleaning of my craft areas. I will try to remember to put a photo of this stuff on the blog post, but I use this in a lot of crafting. It's just a fun product to have on hand. I'm going to cut this back. I don't want it, I just want to cut it back so it's just a little smaller than my wood piece. If I can. There. That's fine. Now, the next thing we're going to do is frame this. We're going to use skinny sticks. Skinny sticks they're like a craft stick, but they're only a 1/4 inch wide, and they're flat on the ends. I love these. I use these in lots of stuff. The first one I want to cut to 3.5 inches, and I am going to try and get this under camera. I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to cut it. And this is going to be glued on to frame our stuff here. There's going to be more on the top, don't worry. This is not the end of our little experiment here. Now, I think one of my tacky glue is not going to work. I really need to remember to buy more tacky glue. But I think this will be easier to use. Now I've got a couple of these. I was going to use this to spread glue on one side of this. I could probably use the wood glue for this also. It's a little thicker, and I don't know. I'm going to line this up. Now, I want to trim it so it goes there. And I'm going to do 2 that length, one for each side. Really hoping that was all under camera. I love to make headboards for beds. It's almost as much fun as dressing the beds themselves. Just building the bed is so much fun. I love coming up with these ideas. And since I'm going to be making this kind of distressed looking, I don't care if my sticks are not perfect. If you are going to make yours look really plush and not distressed, you probably want to be more careful about that. Now I'm going to cut the end off. Oops, that's crooked. And let's mark this. Lay it on top of here. It doesn't have to fit perfectly. I just want to put something over the bottom of that to hold down the edges of our wall repair fabric. Because although it is adhesive, that adhesive I have found does not really work permanently on craft projects. And this will be behind the mattress, so that's fine. I am going to clamp this again and give this glue some time. probably about an hour or so. I'm not getting it completely dry. That's okay. Glue this down. Now, I'll be back in about an hour. Oops. All right, so this has had, about an hour to dry, I think now. And I knew I needed super glue for the next step, and when I was getting the super glue, I found another bottle of tacky glue, so yay, I have more tacky glue. So now we are going to add some sides on. I'm going to, I've got a pencil. Cut 2 pieces to fit the sides. Now we won't be able to clamp this, and that's why I went and found the tacky glue, or the super glue. Because if you've watched my channel in the past, you probably know that I love to mix my super glue with my tacky glue, and then I don't need to clamp it. All right. Come on. I think every bottle of glue in my house is drying up for some reason. All right. There we go. Oh, that's so much better. All right. Nice little bead of glue. Remember, we're going along the sides. Little bit of super glue. Do not get your fingers in the super glue. That's never fun. Hold that together. Oops. Ah, yes, there was super glue leaking out. Okay. About 3 drops of super glue along the length, keeping your fingers away from it. Now, it doesn't matter if this end matches up. You do want to make sure everything is level as possible at the top. This needs to dry for a while, and after this dries, I'll come back and we'll put a top rail on. Alright, so this glue is now fairly dry, so we're going to put a cap on the top of our headboard. And I'm going to use just a regular craft stick. Kind of go through, like this was the first one I picked up and it's really crooked, so go through your craft sticks and get a nice straight one. And I buy these also by the big box, so I always have them on hand. And once again, we're going to use the 2 glue method because it's kind of hard to clamp this. Now, super glue without, make sure I'm getting, that's the crooked one. And this time I'm going to put this on here because I want to make sure I don't have it on the part that's going to hang over. And kind of eyeball it to make sure you're as centered as you can be. Hold it for a few seconds, and now that glue needs to dry. And when that glue is dry, we'll put some paint on this. Alright, so this glue is dried fairly well. I will say, if I wasn't doing a video and trying to get a video done like right now, I would let this dry longer. I'll try to post in the blog about why I ended up having to do this so quickly today, but I'm going to put a coat of brown paint on, and I don't want a really, excuse me, I don't know where my voice just went. I don't want a really solid coat of paint. And I don't want a very thick coat of paint because I don't want to lose all the detail of our stuff there in the middle. And this is just a craft paint. This is ceramic coat in brown velvet. I do like the brown velvet for a dark brown. It's a really nice color. All right, because this is just a really thin coat of craft paint, that is going to dry really quickly. So I'm going to kind of stand this up on there so it's not resting down against the table, and I'm going to wash my brush. When that paint is dry, I'll be back and we'll do the next step. This is dry enough to work with, and that it's only been just a few minutes, literally time to wash the brush and find more paintbrushes. So now I have a really old bottle of Delta Ceramic Coat Crackle. I love this stuff. I don't use it exactly the way the directions say, but kind of. So what we're going to do, I want a very, very thin coat. Not much more than a whisper. The thicker this stuff is, the bigger your crackles will be. And since we are working in dollhouse size, we want this to be really tiny. We're not going to do the back. Just a little bit on there. And now I'm going to let that sit for only just a few minutes, just until it gets barely tacky. I'm going to go wash my brush and I'll be right back. Alright, so I checked this, it's just starting to be, hopefully it's tacky. I think it's tacky enough. We have some more craft paint. This one is in sandstone. Another brush. I'm just going to barely paint. This way we accent our netting in here. We'll get a few crackles. We're not going to get a lot of crackles, just a few. I don't want a lot because I don't want to overdo it. And let's cut on the top. Alright, now I'm going to let this dry, and when this is dry, I will spray it with a clear overcoat, clear finish spray, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. Alright, so this now has, the paint is dry, the clear finish has been sprayed on, and it's dry, and this is ready to put a bed in front of it, which I'll show you how to do next week. So be sure and come back next week and see how that comes together. Be sure and check out the blog post. I'll have photos, and I've already written the blog post. I talk a little bit about why we had this project today. If you haven't found us on Facebook, the link is always in the description box. I invite you to come join us over there. We have lots of fun and lots of talking goes on. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.